Salute. It's Nocturnal Thoughts, man. What's happening? Real quick video, then I'm getting out the way. Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, second press conference. Who won? I just want to cover that real quick, then I want to move on because some things have happened since then. Closer conference, and I think Ryan Garcia might have edged it a little bit, but I still feel like Tank won the second conference. I thought it was 2-0, but I felt like Ryan Garcia was a little bit more vocal. He had the attention of the crowd. You know what I'm saying? He was in his backyard, had his family with him, and he was taking some easy shots at Gervonta Tank Davis, talking about the purse and the weight training issue and things like that. So to me, kind of, if you want to split hairs, I got to give Ryan Garcia the second conference, even though in my mind I kind of want to give it to Tank, because Tank put his fist up to Ryan Garcia's chin, and his fist was bigger than Ryan Garcia's whole head. And when Ryan Garcia put his fist up to Gervonta Tank Davis, it made his hands look smaller, and Gervonta Tank Davis just kind of pushed it out the way real easy. And it changed to me a little bit of Ryan Garcia's body language, but he was still talking the talk. Like when he said the purse comment, that was, hard, that was funny. When he said the weight drain, why you draining me? Why you draining me? I felt like, you got to give him credit for being able to throw that out there in the way that he did, because it did make Gervonta Tank Davis say, man, you big as hell. You ain't weight drained, you big as hell. So verbally, Ryan Garcia won that. Physically, I think Gervonta Tank Davis still won that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when they first walked up to each other and Tank put his fist up, then Ryan put his fist up, then they went back and forth putting their hands up, this and this. But when he was like, I'm just gonna hit you with body shots, and Tank did this little, clipped his chin, and Ryan Garcia got his chin clipped. Then he looked like halfway surprised that he wasn't already knocked out, and he went into his little, ooh, I'm so fat, and he slip, and it's like, dude, that dude touched your chin. And if that would have been a fight and he would have touched your chin, you would have been on the ground fighting, which is kind of how I see this fight happening. I think Ryan Garcia got that fight in him and that dog in him, and I think when he gets knocked out, he'll be on the ground still throwing punches. But I want to say this. I gotta say this. Because I was rewatching the first press conference, and Ryan Garcia said one thing. He said, all credit and praise for this moment to Jesus Christ. And him saying that, in my mind, does change. Because when you believe in that power, anything can happen. And if Ryan Garcia knocks out Tank Davis and he gives all the credit to Jesus Christ, that's a salute from Nocturnal. Straight like that. So, with that being said, I believe Gervonta Tank Davis, he gives credit to God as well. I don't hear him talking very spiritually or religiously a lot, but I think that coming out of Baltimore, surviving that, and becoming the man he is, he has to have some belief system in God too. I just, I don't know. I haven't really ever heard him take a lot of time and just go into detail of how he feel about that. So he might be giving his credit and his glory to Jesus as well. You dig? So maybe it's just something he hasn't expressed out loud. Either way, back to the conference, and move on. Actually, I want to move on past the conference, because it's old news now. I just heard something that made me look at Leonard Ellerbe the same way I always look at Leonard Ellerbe. When he put his nose into the sport, he just talked so much about business, and he says things. When Gervonta Tank Davis went up to 140 and fought Mario Barrios, I thought that was a great fight. But when people was asking him about fighting not Teofimo Lopez, but fighting Josh Taylor, the Tartan Tornado, Leonard Ellerbe's response was all the way wrong. And it seemed like the same thing is happening again, where they asking, after this Ryan Garcia fight, what about Devin Haney? And Leonard Ellerbe's once again talking about the business and the gap between who makes the most money. And, it's just Leonard Ellerbe. And even I heard a little clip. I'm going to go back and listen to some more stuff, but I want to get out y'all way real quick. Even Coach Calvin Ford was talking about, I'll starve him out. And I know he didn't have some issues with Devin Haney because of Bill Haney. Him and Bill Haney then went back and forth with some little issues. But starve him out. Business and the gap financially. See, people don't like this rehydration clause, which I understand why. But I feel like it's, you know what I'm saying, it's a war, it's a fight, and nobody's created equal. But at the end of the day, man, let's see how it play out on the battlefield. After this man has signed a contract and talked this talk, and they then did the press conference, let's see how the fight play out. But to be shooting down the idea of fighting somebody like Devin Haney, talking about the business and this, that, and the third, to me, that sounds like you afraid of a fight. Not coming out of Tank, not even coming out of Calvin Ford, but coming out of Leonard Ellerbe especially. Yeah, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, to act like the Devin Haney fight or Gervonta Tank Davis fight, if Devin Haney stays at 135. See, that's the thing that I always, Devin Haney is not going to be long for 135. But if he stays at 135 and he wins against Lomachenko, and then Gervonta Tank Davis wins against Ryan Garcia, then the only fight that makes sense to me at all whatsoever, and they both at 135, and no catch weights, no rehydrations, no A-side, no, you know what I'm saying, business, who gonna take the biggest piece of the pie talk, let the best man win to see who the real king is. That's Devin Haney versus Gervonta Tank Davis. And ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it at this point. Even though I do understand what Leonard Ellerbe be saying, like, you know what I'm saying, the belts aren't as what they used to be without a lot of title defenses, and the man don't make the belts, or the belts don't make the man make the belts. And Devin Haney really only got the belts because he beat Kambosos, and you know what I'm saying, blah blah blah, all that jargon. It makes sense, but it don't make sense to use that as gaps. You should be talking as in how you're gonna find the bridges to bridge the gaps to make that fight happen, because that would be the biggest fight possible for Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis if you get the other guys out the way. Ryan Garcia, which is a huge, I'm not going to take away the ability of Ryan Garcia to win this fight whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? We'd be all having a different talk after that fight if Ryan Garcia wins. But you know what I'm saying, I'm going to lean towards Gervonta Tank Davis to win this fight. And I'm going to lean towards Devin Haney to win against Lomachenko, even though I feel like that's close too. Because we might be talking about Ryan Garcia versus Lomachenko, or we might be talking about Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lomachenko, or we might be talking about Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. We talked about that before. So we'll see how it plays out. But at the end of the day, for Leonard Ellerbe to dismiss the idea of it just because of the business, after all this talk about how Golden Boy then came together and Ryan Garcia, and they then hashed out all these little stipulations and everything, and Gervonta Tank Davis fan base is still staying solid with him, and Ryan Garcia fan base is improving now, and they fight. And there's no reason why the undisputed champion Devin Haney, who's went over there in hostile territory and fought somebody twice, and then if he beats high-tech Vasily Lomachenko, who still carries weight, because when he lost against Teofimo Lopez, it could have been possibly against a shoulder injury, and he then came back and looked good to me when he fought Nakatani Masayoshi, and he looked good when he fought Richard Comey, and he took a little hiatus for this war situation and came back and still didn't look terrible when he fought, I forget dude's name right off the rip, it'll come to me later. He didn't look great, but he still won that fight. And then when Devin Haney got in the ring with him, he's like, I'll be ready for you. You big, but I'm going to be ready for you. Lomachenko versus Devin Haney is a huge fight. Devin Haney is bringing in don't try to pull this off and say Devin Haney don't make the kind of numbers that we need in order to bridge the gap to make Tank Davis fight Devin Haney. That right there, you know what I'm saying, that just don't sound right. It don't even sound right, and it don't make Tank look no better to his, even though right now, you know what I'm saying, it's just, Come on, Leonard Ellaby. I'm gonna look more into what Coach Calvin Ford said. All I heard right now is starving out Devin Haney, and that's I don't know what you call that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't salute it. That ain't no warrior gladiator talk, in my opinion. That's something else. You know what I'm saying? That's jester. What they used to have to do that made the king laugh, the comedian dude, the jester. That's almost borderline talking like that. Like you sounding like, I don't know. I got a lot of respect for Calvin Ford, so I'm gonna look more into it before I come up with a conclusion to how I think, based off what he said. 'Cause I don't want to take it out of context. I heard a little clip out of context, but Leonard Ellaby sound like he always sound. That's why I don't like him putting his nose into the game when it comes to him and Mayweather. Leonard Ellaby and Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? When they start to talk for Gervonta Tank Davis, you see how smooth and how good it just looked so much better when when Gervonta Tank Davis was fighting Hector Garcia. How smooth that went without Leonard Ellaby being there. You know what I'm saying? For me, it went smooth. You know, it just was talk some little shit, and then let's fight. Now they want to put the microphone and interview Leonard Ellaby, and he's saying things that make Gervonta Tank Davis look like he don't even want to think about fighting Devin Haney, even though he shouldn't be focused on that. But Gervonta Tank Davis shouldn't be focused on that fight because he should be focused on Ryan Garcia. But Leonard Ellaby should be behind the scenes. Maybe he is, because he is a smart guy. He don't just be discussing stuff like how things go behind closed doors. He know how to keep business behind closed doors. But he said it's too much of a gap. And Devin Haney and the belts, they not even making money like Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis, and it just didn't sound right. And look, to me, that's the only fight that would make sense for Tank, is the Devin Haney. Gervonta Tank Davis said he didn't want to retire. He want to retire early, in his early 30s. If he fight Devin Haney, the only person I can see Tank fighting besides Devin Haney to solidify his legacy would be Shakur Stevenson. That's it. If you ain't gonna fight Shakur Stevenson, you gotta fight Devin. If Devin Haney is still holding those belts, if he fight Lomachenko and he wins against Lomachenko, and this Devin Haney sitting over here with all the belts, and Gervonta Tank Davis sitting over here with all the pay-per-view and all the fans and all the money and all that, and they come together, that's the only fight that makes sense, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. Now, your thoughts. Salute. I'm gone. Wow.